Hello, I'm Jerry, and we're back again today with Scott Nelson. Scott has been a leader in business and responsible for over $1 billion of supplies and services. Scott, thanks for taking time to join us today to make an impact.
Jerry, thanks for having me. You might remember last time we talked about the foundational course. That was the 3 S's: sincerity, self-awareness, and service. Today we're going to talk about the 3 C's. So that's intended to be the next level, of course, the intermediaries. And that's credibility, confidence, and collaboration.
So the 3 C's are at the core of a leader's success, whether faculty in a classroom or an excellent corporation. So I'm asking you to provide us with your professional insight into these 3 C's that you've discovered for us.
Well, these are more outwardly focused, whereas with the 3 S's, it was a little bit more inwardly focused on the leader. And we're going to start with credibility. And credibility is so important and really speaks to, are you reliable and are you trustworthy? And I love this statement. Credibility is the currency of trust. Credibility is the currency of trust. So it is how trust is bought, how it's grown, how it's depreciated and it's sold. It is also the linchpin to inspire and motivate. And when you think about it, that's really the main charge of a leader. You are to inspire and motivate people to do things, to accomplish things that they otherwise wouldn't do on their own. That's credibility. Moving to confidence. Confidence is really, are you comfortable in your own skin? And I think generally speaking, humans, and really leaders are no exception to this, humans lack some basic confidence. I'm not sure why that is, but it's a skill that really needs to be built. Like anyone who exceeds in their craft, you have to get the reps, you have to do the work, you have to build the skill. And so confidence is critically important because it becomes a catalyst for either inaction or action. If you think about it, the times where you're not very confident, you're hesitant to take action. You don't want to make a mistake.
Right.
You don't want to be wrong. But what that does is that just perpetuates inaction, and ultimately then progress doesn't further. And I'm not saying that there won't ever be a time that you're going to be wrong, but I think where confidence can be built as a skill and comes in is if you can be confident that really you've gone through and you've been faithful to the process, you've done the reps, you've done the due diligence, you have engaged the right people, you've done everything you need to do and can reasonably do to arrive at a conclusion and an action and a direction. So it's time to take it.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've built that, it becomes a catalyst for action. Now you may find out you were wrong, but then you need to be confident in anything I do, I can go through and be faithful to the process again, and I can make a pivot and I can come up with a different action that'll get a different result. So I think it's really important to understand, though, that there is a balance whenever you talk about confidence between self-assuredness and humility and finding the appropriate balance between those. And I heard a leader talk at one point. He said, as a leader, you are either growing or you're swelling. And I think about that related to what you do here in growing leaders and building skill. And that's really, are you investing in yourself? Are you learning more? Are you getting better every day? Versus swelling is really that arrogance of, I've got it all figured out. I'm the leader, and now whatever I do is going to be okay. So that's where I think whenever you really think about the confidence piece of it, you need to maintain that right balance, a quiet confidence, if you will. And then the last piece is around collaboration, and that really is, do people want to work with you? You might recall we discussed in service, and there's a quote, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, which I think is it's such a great quote. And it really points to extraordinary leaders understand the importance of caring deeply and listening carefully. And when they care deeply and they listen carefully, they create connection with those that they lead. And ultimately, they understand that their level of effectiveness is a direct correlation on people's willingness to work with them. If people don't want to work with you, your ability to drive results and be effective is marginal at best. What extraordinary leaders do is they find a way through caring deeply, listening carefully, to find out what's important to you and to make it important to them in a way that you feel it. They also understand that that's key. That connection is key to building trust. And trust is, as we know, the necessary foundation to being able to achieve results.
Excellent. So I want to circle back because I want to focus on credibility just for a few more minutes. You've earned it, Scott. You definitely earned it. Could you share what you do every day to ensure that you're credible and you're respected and you get things done?
Yeah, well, as you said, it's every day. It's really, I think the first thing is acknowledging that credibility is a situation by situation, interaction by interaction, sort of self-reinforcing and earned skill. And what I mean by self-reinforcing is when you're credible, people trust and respect you. And when people trust and respect you, you become more credible. So that cycle sort of perpetuates itself, but it also goes in reverse. If you're not, then they won't. And when they don't, then they won't. So it's really important, I think, as I think about it, every interaction, and there's a lot of pressure realizing that every interaction is either building your credibility or it's eroding your credibility. It's never going to stay the same. It goes one direction or the other. So understanding and acknowledging that, and then really viewing each situation as, oh, I want to build it, not erode it. And the shadow of a leader is extensive. So not only is it those interactions and what you do, but there's another saying that I really like is what you permit, you promote. And when you unpack that, it's not just what you do, it's also what you allow. And so here, I think there are a couple of questions that I ask myself, and I think that leaders can continue to ask as well. Number one is, what am I not seeing? And that can be very revealing when you realize that you have blinders on and you may just be seeing what you want. And then the second question that I think is even a little bit more powerful is, what am I seeing, but I choose not to acknowledge, or I choose to ignore? So back to what you permit or you promote, it very much is the whole concept around how do I continue to build my credibility is not only what I do, but also what I allow.
That's outstanding. Seriously, that's very outstanding. So I want to ask you if you could take what we've just talked about today in this part, and how would you summarize it so the audience can walk away with something even more powerful?
Yeah, well, I'm going to take us back actually to the last section. So we started with the foundations, and that was very inwardly looking, the leader being introspective. And that's sincerity, it's self-awareness, and it's service. We pivoted to the 3 C's, which then were a little bit more outwardly faced. How do I impact other people, either through my credibility, through my confidence, and then through my level of collaboration? And all of that was around, how do I really build long-lasting relationships and a foundation of trust? What we're going to pivot to the next time is we're going to talk about the capstone. Like any good course section, you have your foundations, you have your intermediates, and then you have your capstone project. And in the capstone, we're going to marry up our theory with our practice, and we're going to look at that vis-a-vis some leadership imperatives and achieving balance within these leadership imperatives. So I'll leave that for the cliffhanger for next time.
Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today about the 3 C's. And they're going to stick with me for a while, and I'm sure they're going to stick with the audience for a while. We'll continue talking with Scott in another episode. So remember, be bold, be confident, and absolutely be extraordinary.